Okay, I'll call the meeting to order, please. We'll start by approving the order of the agenda.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, order of agenda is approved. Next item is the minutes of the December 17th meeting.
Move to approve the minutes.
Second.
Any, or all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, minutes of the December 17th meeting are approved. Thank you. So the next item on the agenda is a staff report from Sunny.
I'm over here this
You're
time.
on the other side of the room.
I've
Hey
moved.
there.
So yes, we are currently reviewing applications for that LA2 position that is open here at Maine, the Library Associate 2. So hopefully they'll get those finished and hired quickly. And then we also, exciting news for us anyways, we have a slightly new program registration form. It allows wait lists now, which is something we've been wanting for a very long time. So if programs are full, now you can at least get onto the wait list, and as people call to cancel, we can bump people up. So we're very excited about that. Programming, again, just a partial list. For a full list, please go to our website. Children's, we've got Little Squirt Science coming up. This is on the final Friday and Saturday of each month. So this month it'll be on the 24th and 25th. Both sessions are at 11 a.m. The 24th will be at Maine and the 25th will be at the Dr. James Carlson Library. February 1st at 10 a.m. we are going to have our Winter Wonderland workshop. This is in collaboration with Nature of the North. It's most appropriate for families with kids 5 and up. We're going to be teaching them like camping ideas and survival skills for the winter, so should be very fun. As far as I know, no pre-registration is required for that, so just show on up. Teens, we have a new event coming up for them. It's called Teen Time. It's kind of going to go roll through each Tuesday of the month. First Tuesdays of the month, we're going to be focusing on STEM-related activities. Second Tuesdays are going to be arts and crafts. Third Tuesdays, it's going to be mostly about the books, just talking about books that we love. And fourth Tuesdays is kind of just going to be a wild card. Whatever floats their boat, that's what we're going to be doing. On the 24th at the Dr. James Carlson Library, we're going to have 2 sessions at 6 and 6:50. It will be Nerf night at the library. Pre-registration is required for that, so we advise you go online. And then on the 30th of the month, also at the Dr. James Carlson Library at 4 and 6:30, we will be having giant games. So basically, it is actually giant forms of the game. So like giant Connect 4, giant Jenga, that kind of thing. The adult list, I have good news, and I have really good news, but it might also be bad news. So this list, all of these events are now full because we're so popular. However, we have that wonderful wait list now, so I advise you that you use that. However, we still recommend that you stop by the main library at 7 p.m. on the 29th for FMCT's Little Women, the musical preview. A lot of people worked very hard on that, so we're excited to host that. And then our multi-generational events on the 13th at the main library at 6:30. We're gonna kind of bust some Parks and Rec style out and have a Galentine's Day celebration. So we recommend everyone come to that as well. That is it.
Fun. Thank you, Sunny. Sounds like lots of great stuff coming up this month, so thank you for that. And then we'll move on to the director's report.
Yes, per your packet, you can see my report there. You can see the holidays kind of were interspersed there and some vacation. Big thing is with the collections, innovations in collections and services team, we're working on a series of focus groups for the staff to look at various programs and activities. And then from those focus groups to create a survey tool to go out to the public and see what folks would like to kind of innovative new programs that we can do, provide as we go forward. That's my report essentially.
Excellent. How about any unfinished business? It doesn't look like we have any. So we'll move on to new business. Well, actually, I should ask, I'm sorry. Does anybody have any questions or anything that they would like to talk about Tim's director's report? No questions? Okay. All right, then let's move on to new business. The first item of new business is the Homeless Outreach Specialist Services Overview. And Jillian Gould is here from the library to talk to us about that.
Actually, she's from
Not from the library.
the Gladys Ray Shelter.
Okay.
How many years has it been, Jillian?
It'll be 4 next month.
4 next month.
Crazy. Time
And,
flies.
and the history of this is looking back at, as an urban library, we serve the whole community, and there is a special needs, vulnerable adult community in terms of the homeless population is not unique certainly to Fargo. It's certainly a urban library situation. Certainly, we wanted to find the most, proactive, robust way to serve this population, because they bring a series of challenges and that can take place in terms of behaviors in mental illness and consumption of drugs and alcohol, what have you. We wanted to move beyond just the idea of strictly a policy approach to try and find, structures that help them, that to visit the library, that they would be sober, that would be harm reduction to them, and to find a better way to serve that population. So 4 or so years ago, working with the Gladys Ray Shelter and through public health and city administration, worked to create Jillian's position, and luckily we hired Jillian, got her on board. The challenge is always is that, you have one Jillian, you need 12 Jillians. And Jillian's a very, very busy person. And, in talking with Rachel, she was interested in how do we serve? How do we, find that balance? Because ultimately, what we're looking to do between obviously our work with Jillian, staff, PD, everybody on board, is to find a way to manage these social issues that face urban situations. We know we can't solve it, but we have to find good ways to manage it, to help those folks, so we can fulfill our mission to serve the whole the greater population in terms of library services. So Jillian, if you want to just talk about some of the things that you've been doing, kind of what we do on a daily, monthly, weekly, yearly basis.
That's a lot.
It is.
So, as Tim said, my office is housed out of the library. So the majority of my week is spent meeting with patrons, whether it's I'm outreaching them, I notice somebody with a suitcase, or somebody presents to library staff, or even the security guards at the library. So when meeting with them, it can be as simple as I need a referral for a food basket, to I need help getting housing, I need help accessing shelter. It really ebbs and flows. Some days are crazy busy at the library and some days are quieter, but I like having my office space there because it's neutral ground. Many of the folks that I am working with aren't accessing the shelter system, so they're either sleeping outside, maybe staying in their car, staying with a family member, a friend, or in a hotel. So prior to my position coming on board, it was really hard for those folks to have access to resources. They didn't know where to go to find that, and oftentimes accessing shelter was the first point to get there. The community as a whole is really focusing on a diversion piece, so we can divert people from shelter so that they don't get trapped in our cycle. So it's been very good. It's been very busy, as Tim said. I came back from maternity leave in August, and then shortly after returning, actually took over supervising one of our other programs as well as my duties. So I'm now the coordinator that supervises our mobile outreach program, which we are gearing up to train all the library staff in next month. Basically, that is a service that has 2 individuals in a unmarked vehicle that looks similar to a law enforcement squad car. And those folks can respond to anybody that's in a crisis related to their substance use. So that was one of the main goals of my position was, can Jillian intervene so that we don't have to call law enforcement? And now we have an awesome team of staff that are there from 9 a.m. until midnight every day that can respond to those individuals. So I think we'll see a reduction there as well with calls for service. Also very excited to get Officer Nord on tomorrow. So we'll be collaborating a lot more with him as far as trespasses go and things like that. Tim had asked that I review our trespass list and our banned list, and it's high. I mean, it's 208 individuals. The majority of those individuals are on that list due to intoxication-related incidents. So I'm looking at collaborating with law enforcement and how we can all work together to help those individuals regain access. I know Tim and I and other staff have worked to give those patrons an option to return. So whether that's they meet with me, I know that they have a case manager, maybe they moved into housing and they're not using substances to the degree that they were using, really allowing me to be that advocate for them so they can have access to service.
And I'll take this opportunity too to thank the Friends with Mary Beth here, as one of the things that the Friends were very generous to provide to Jillian, and certainly for the individuals and the library, was a donation of money to utilize to help people get identification.
Correct.
You know, you can't get a library card if you have no identification. And there's so many folks, it's almost like the infrastructure for their own success, they don't have it. And started with a really basic aspect of having proper identification to interact in your society, in how society works. And I know Jillian was very busy getting folks identification, but that's one of the chronic issues, is so many of these folks, they'll come to town from other states and they have no identification. And it's kind of like,
It's an uphill battle to get one without the other.
yeah.
If you don't have anything, you can't get into the Social Security office without an ID anymore. So navigating that and helping patrons with that has been huge.
So I want to thank the Friends for that. That was
Very
huge.
much so.
So questions, kind of, it is a tremendous collaboration, certainly between the library staff, Fargo PD, Jillian, we're all working together on this. And it's a nonlinear societal situation. And as Jillian says, it ebbs and flows. Some months are more active or more problematic than others. I would say over the last month and a half, in retrospect of other winter months, it's been relatively quiet, but that can change overnight.
Don't say that word out loud. The Q word. Mm-mm.
My wife tries to warn me, but anyway, if anybody has any questions?
Jan, go ahead.
Would you estimate the percentage of your population that might be juveniles?
So the last survey that was conducted in Fargo-Moorhead estimated that we have about 1,200 homeless individuals, men, women, and children on any given night. I'm not 100% sure on what that population is, just because I primarily work with adults. But there is a large number of minor children, either with mom or dad.
But I'm thinking specifically at the library. Are you?
It's more frequently that I work with adults when I come into contact with somebody that is in a juvenile age range or even like a young adult age range. We are really fortunate to have both YouthWorks and Stepping Stones Resource Center in the area. So getting them connected with that is huge. But it's a very small percentage compared to the number of adults that I work with.
I have questions. So when you're how often are you at the library, and what happens when you're there and something like a problematic behavior happens, or when you're not there? Are there similar steps that are taken, or?
Yeah, definitely. So when I'm at the library, either Tim will come grab me, library staff will call my office, security will come grab me, sometimes law enforcement will come and grab me as well to see if I can intervene. Oftentimes, if I approach somebody that's intoxicated, I have a relationship with them. It goes much differently than even if security approaches them. So if I approach somebody that's intoxicated that I know, say, hey man, you're having a really bad day, let's get you out of here before you get in trouble. It goes differently than, say, if security did. When I'm not there, library staff are really good about calling my cell phone as well, so that I can respond. If I'm not able to respond, I have had our mobile outreach staff respond on multiple occasions. So we're hoping that that will continue to expand as well.
Yeah, that sounds like an amazing program.
It is.
Really
It's
excited when you
very,
started
very
describing
awesome.
it. To have someone like not the police come and try to intervene.
Exactly.
When you're not available because you have a limited amount of hours.
Right, correct.
As far as for staff, when a staff member comes in, do you do an initial training with them? Or maybe Tim, you can speak to that on interactions with people experiencing homelessness.
We've done periodic training in, certainly it's a constant thing that we deal with in terms of obviously de-escalation, mental illness, mental health 101. We've had that in the past. We've had a series, and I think that's something we can keep in mind to find what kind of discussion do we have. We certainly make it part of the interview process. You know, we ask direct questions about what is your experience dealing with vulnerable individuals, mentally ill individuals. And sometimes we put in like a scenario question and see what would they, what is their level of experience dealing with that population? What would they do in this particular scenario in that regard? Certainly, with the staff development team, is all the various trainings related to that are ongoing. But we try and certainly be very open and talk about it as, it's a fact of urban libraries, and this is part of how we have to serve the population. Some have a little more challenges than others, but it is certainly something right at hiring that is part of the initial discussion of education of what the positions involved and what the word public actually means. It's a big word.
I do know too, we've recently had library staff start to attend the Homelessness 101 that is put on by the Homeless Coalition, which I think has been really beneficial. I know the staff, when I went and presented for Gladys Ray, the library staff that were there were my cheering audience. It was really fun, but the staff that I had heard feedback from really thought that was very useful as well, just to kind of give you an idea of what resources are available.
Jumping on that. Anyone interrupt me? I have a list here. So they attended that. How do other organizations communicate kind of their needs or what's happening in the community to staff or people on premises? Is it usually through you? Are you the conduit of information to staff?
It's usually through me. If a case manager has somebody that was trespassed that is now wanting to get back in, they usually go through me for that route.
Okay. Or even new programs happening in the community. Do you usually relay that to staff
Correct.
as well?
Yep.
Yes. Yep. And then, not as much, I guess for security, we contract out. Do they also receive some type of training in this area?
It's, their schedules, it's very difficult to get them at training. The security company would say that they are trained to a certain degree. It's been my experience that with contract security companies, there are those, it comes down to the individual officer that's there. Some are good, some aren't so good. And certainly I think what assists us in that particular question is Officer Nord coming on board tomorrow. I mean, he's a 9-year veteran.
Can you explain, if anyone's watching, who this person is?
He is a sworn officer of the Fargo Police Department,
Okay.
9-year veteran. We'll be working with we'll have a workspace on the second floor in the staff area. He will be working between the main library downtown and the Matt Bus station. Kind of, coordinating with Jillian, myself, library staff, contract security to kind of have that that professional approach, build those relationships with those populations, and, have that be that available set of eyes, ears, to have those discussions. And, we've already sat down, and certainly him and I and Jillian and the other downtown resource officers have a great relationship. So it isn't just this group over here doing this and Jillian's over here doing this. It's everybody working together. And we know that we understand that in the limitations that we have, there's a lot we can do for all our users, but we know we won't be able to solve, but we can hopefully coordinate how we have this approach that A, folks will get services, B, we can incentivize harm reduction on individuals, that they will choose activities, that allow them to be at the library and thus reducing the harm on themselves for that period of time or what have you, and maintaining the environment that will be welcoming to mothers, kids, grandmothers, everybody, that everybody feels safe, welcome, and will come to the library, and we don't lose, where people stop feeling safe. So that's our challenge, and it's a big challenge. It's an urban library challenge, and I think we got the right people on board, and I think we're taking a great approach. A lot of work, a lot of thanks to Jillian, and certainly the responsiveness from city administration on this, and the Fargo Police Department. So I'm excited as we go forward.
Any other questions for Jillian?
I have another question, if that's okay. Do you ever, because we do a lot with policy, we're reviewing policy on the board along with Tim. And do you usually give feedback on the policy, especially code of conduct or?
I haven't as part of a formal situation. However, I'm always open for conversation with Tim or other staff in regards to that.
Okay, so if we wanted feedback on, because sometimes it's hard, especially I'm not from I don't work with homeless populations, and so it might be nice to have feedback, to get your feedback on a policy, because I wouldn't know how it would affect patrons. And you're really situated in an interesting place, being working with that population and also in the library, so you might understand something that I wouldn't. And so you'd be open to giving feedback if we're looking at a policy?
Absolutely.
Okay, that's great. I don't have any other questions. Anyone can take it from here.
Well, I just want to say, I think that the library does an amazing job at getting the right people together and identifying needs that the community has and coming up with really creative ways to solve those problems, including the idea of helping people get their IDs. I mean, I think that's just really like outside the box thinking.
Absolutely.
And that can really open doors for people and change their lives in a positive way. So I say kudos to you guys. Good work.
Thank you.
Can I ask one more question before she goes? I apologize. I'm sorry. So would it be, I don't know if this has happened in the past. Have we ever brought in all the social services, many social services agencies into our downtown library for people to access would that help at all to, because some libraries do that, have a social services fair
house.
or
We
something.
do have the nurse from Homeless Health, the homeless outreach nurse from Homeless Health does come in on a weekly basis. So we've started to bring in some services like that. We used to do Project Community Connect. I don't know if any of you recall that. As a community, we did that once a year at the Fargo Dome where we brought all those service providers together. And I think it was really hard for folks, to get out to the Fargo Dome where it was, and the transportation piece was hard. So I don't think that that's a bad idea. I know a lot of I'm thinking of a library in Texas, they have coffee with the library social worker once a month. So it's just a really casual environment to come in. But I wouldn't be opposed to that. I think that would, meeting people where they're at really helps folks get connected to service so that they don't have the expectation that they have to show up as social services to fill out the food stamp app. If somebody's here and can help me right here, that's much easier. That makes
So
sense.
if there's, because I know other libraries are doing coffee with staff and
Yeah.
social services, so you'd be open to some type of programming like that to
absolutely.
increase relational.
Yeah, I think it really does come back down to the relationship. I can think of a gentleman that I've worked with now for the last year. He originally got put on my radar because he needed a bus pass to go cash a check. It was actually the security guard that said, go meet with Jillian. I got him the bus pass. He didn't want to tell me anything about him. Found out that, sure enough, he'd been sleeping outside. It was 20 below zero at that point. And I worked really hard to get him to maybe consider taking a sleeping bag or have a cup of coffee with me, to the point now where he went to treatment, he got sober, he's now accessing shelter, he's reunifying with his family out in Pennsylvania. So it really does come back down to that relationship piece. The more they know you, the more they're willing to share to receive the correct service.
Thank you. Thank you. Your work is amazing. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, well, the next item of new business is exciting Harry Potter exhibit and programming, and Lori West is here to talk to us about that.
All right. So yes, we actually, I think it was fall of 2018. Erica Johnson from UND. She's a medical librarian from UND, and she reached out and let us know that there was a display, a traveling exhibit that was coming around, and it's called, I have to make sure I've got the right name for it, Renaissance Science, Magic, and Medicine in Harry Potter's World. And so it was on her radar. She wanted a partner in the community. And so we, of course, agreed because it sounded awesome. And there are a lot of Harry Potter nerds on staff at the library as well. So it's finally arriving. It should be delivered on the weekend of February 8th, February 9th. And so the opening day is the 10th. It's going to run through March 21st. We will, on the opening day, we will have some cookies and coffee out in the lobby. The display itself is going to be situated as you're entering the library from the concourse in that double door area where the sunflower murals are. There are 6 panels, and within those panels we'll also have some extra little displays of different things. We have Lauren Johnson. I don't know if any of you are familiar with her. She's a children's librarian and she's super creative. I mean, lots of people are creative on staff too and have been helping with this, but big kudos to her. She's really taken this by storm, and she's for sure the Harry Potter guru on staff, I would say. So the display will be situated there, 6 panels. Each of the panels will deal with different things in Harry Potter's world, so like potions, herbology, magical creatures, different things like that. The display is actually with us for 6 weeks, and so we decided to try to line up programming that related to each of those panels and subjects, loosely, some of them are. But we have programming for all ages. Everything's going to be on our website. We have Harry Potter trivia, and that's going to be for ages 9 and up. We thought it would be a fun for adults to do that, but also I know a lot of families have, like, it's for, 9-year-olds, 10-year-olds. They can come with their family members as well. We have a party, which is going to be, I'm sure, well attended on a Saturday. So we've got lots of other staff members helping out with that. And we have some great science. So we'll have Dr. Wiley, Graham Wiley from Concordia, come in. He does a lot of education in the community with young people. And so he's going to be doing something on potions. We have some escape rooms. We have some crafts for a few different ages. We're also doing some houseplant stuff because of herbology, and so actually it's basically Houseplants 101, but of course we can't call it that. It's going to be called Growing Muggle World Plants. And then we also have plants that never die, and that's going to be kind of a craft. You're going to make plants out of paper, and they're not going to die. You don't have to water them. So again, some really great things happening. We also have a Under the Stairs display. It just got put up last week. So if you're familiar with the restrooms on the main floor, kind of as you're entering into the meeting room area, under the big staircase going upstairs, there's an empty spot. And so we bought some vinyl cutouts, and it's sort of like Harry Potter under the cupboard, living in the cupboard. So there's a little boy reading and some dragons and a Harry Potter quote. So definitely check that out. So some good stuff happening. Trying to think what else. I think that's pretty much it. Again, it's a National Library of Medicine traveling exhibit. It's going to be in Florida prior to its arrival here in Fargo, and it's actually put on by the History of Medicine division within that. And again, it's a partnership with UND.
Cool. So it looks like most everything is at the main library, but maybe
Yeah,
one
most
or
of
two
it is
things.
at the main library because we really wanted to play up that people could see the exhibit as well. So that's kind of a decision we made specifically for that, so.
Makes sense. Well, I think we got the the waiting list up just in time then.
Yes,
I have
for
a feeling
sure.
there's gonna be a lot of people on the waiting list for this
Yes.
stuff. Cool. Does anybody have any questions? Sounds like fun.
How are you reaching out to the school system? Do you send something to them?
We should. I know Melissa would be doing that kind of regularly. We put stuff into school adventures, something like that. And then it's going to be in our e-newsletter and then our paper newsletters as well. So, and Lauren might be doing something as well with the kids too. So I might check on that.
And you could also think about working with finding the Harry Potter fanatics, maybe the comic book shop or like other
Definitely, yes.
areas that
Yes.
had a connection to that.
Yes, and we've been doing a lot of promotion just at our other programs, and I tell you, Harry Potter is still big, so there were lots of people from all ages that were excited about this, so.
That's
Okay.
great. So excited.
So starts February 10th. Awesome. Okay, I think that's it. Thank you, Lori. Thank you. So let's get to the statistical reports with Tim.
Yes, per your packet, you can see the new registrations for December, 483, that brings us approximate registered patrons of 36,790. We look at 2019 total visits versus 2018, it was down by 4%. It's a little over 20,000. In terms of program attendance, you see the full year of 2019, you see 33,518 folks attended library programs, both on-site and community engagement. That's a new record for program attendance, both on-site, off-site for the library, and it pretty much eclipsed the last year, which was the last record of 27,607. Volunteer hours was off just a little bit from last year, around 11%. Internet sign up, down 14% over last year. I think if you see on the web page, that's up 17%. I think all the work that they've been doing, and thanks for staff and City IS working so hard on improving that. So that gives you some kind of where we ended in 2019 in comparison to 2018. The other thing in terms of overall circulation, and you can see what's enheartening is that total print in comparison to when you compare 2019 to 2018 was up a little over 1%, which is strong. And overall circulation in comparison 2019 to 2018 is a new record also of 1,047,165 items. Again, with the greatest growth portion of our collection being electronic content, e-content. You can see that on the top of the second page, the major growth, where the more physical media continues to, it has high turnover like DVDs, but in comparison overall circs, it continues to decline.
Okay, thank you. Anybody have any questions about that? Okey doke, how about December financials?
Yes, if you, in terms of the donation summary, we received in December a $1,000 gift from Kendra and Matthew O'Brien. Very happy about that. Thanks you to them. On the expenditure side, you can see $201 was expended for the Crafternoons by Lauren Johnson. Thank you, friends, for the Crafternoons money. $53 for working on the North Dakota collection bindings. You can see that. And also, huge thank you to the friends that we wouldn't be able to do this for the staff and admin folks. $408 for $30 of that was the Way to Go gift cards for staff recognition. $226 for staff holiday brunch. That's the full staff to give them a nice holiday meal. And $115 for our admin team retreat lunch that took place. And again, those are things that we wouldn't be able to do if it wasn't for the friends, and that's a major thank you, because that really, it really it's something that it's nice to provide that for staff, you know. So thank you to Friends for giving us that opportunity. In terms of overall budget, I know with what you're looking at, summary of expense aggregate budget with, it says 100% of the year lapsed, and it shows right around $291,945 left. There's actually what they call the 13th period, where they apply additional back to the 2019 budget, and through the end of January and some into February, if they deem it to be from the previous year. And with my estimate of the 13th period and various monies coded back to 19, we're only looking at just around $23,000 left. So of a budget of over $4.5 million to get it down, to utilize it down to just little around 23,000, I think, without running into trouble, I think that's where you want to be. And in terms of overall revenue for the end of the year, is just over $55,000.
Well, pat on the back, Tim. Good job.
A lot
Staying
of
on
good folks
budget.
helping me. A lot of good folks helping me.
Okay, does anybody have any questions about the financials? All right, well, what we've all been waiting for, and next on the agenda is the Friends of the Library report with our special guest, Mary Beth Hegstead.
Well, thank you so much. It is a pleasure to be back here. It's so fun to hear about all of the wonderful things the library is doing. Tim hit on a few of the things that we have been supporting lately, Crafternoons, et cetera. And I'm here mostly to report that last time, I believe it was Whitney who asked me if we needed any volunteers in our bookstore, and my answer at the time was not desperately, and you know, things can change quickly. And so I'm here now to say if anybody out there is, you know, a bookworm and would love to spend some time. I mean, I've been filling in recently a little bit. It's wonderful. I mean, I don't know why you'd want to do anything other than sit in this room with all of these books that you can then purchase if you know, if you want, and just look around. And anyway, it's a pretty easy job, I will tell you that too. So if anyone out there is interested in volunteering, you can contact our new bookstore manager. Her name is Rachel Raleigh. You can contact her, either call her or text her at 701-200-2132 or email her at r-squaredbooks@gmail.com. So that's the most significant change since the last time I've been here. Aside from that, you all out there should swing by the bookstore. We have been doing slowly some renovations in there and sprucing up the place. And so if you haven't been to the bookstore for a while, you should definitely stop in and check it out. So we've made some changes and we're continuing to. So come in now, come in another month, come in another month after that. And we also will have another book sale, not until the spring. But that said, we welcome donations at any time. Like I said last time, I just encourage, if it is a large amount of books, to give Rachel some heads up, and we can discuss the logistics of that because we have very limited space available. So otherwise, donations are welcome on a rolling basis. And stop by and see our store. I think that's all I have to report. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? And remind us, how does one become a friend of the library?
Thank you for asking that question. You can like us on Facebook, and there's the information on there. You can also swing by. Another reason to stop by the bookstores, you can pick up a brochure that tells you all about the levels of membership, something exciting that we're going to be changing, and I'll come back and tell you all about that too. We're going to revamp our membership levels and what that all means, so stay tuned. But while you stop by the bookstore, you can pick up a brochure that tells you all more about what we do, more about the levels that we currently have, and how you can become a member. And with under our current structure, your membership gets you 2 free books at each book sale. I will be pitching that again come spring. But thank you for asking that question, Mary. And we could really use, I know that question was actually asked last time too, and I way overshot the answer. The question was how many friends of the library are there? And I guessed a couple hundred, and I was way overly optimistic. The fact of the matter is that we only have about 100 active members in the Friends. So that's considering, I don't know what the number was, 36,000 patrons.
Right.
Maybe a few of those people, or even if you're not a patron, we'll take you as a friend, but I suspect our target audience is maybe more the patrons. So, there's room for improvement there. So please consider joining the Friends.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I know we always get all sorts of reports on the awesome things that you guys provide for the library staff and the activities and whatnot. So
We are very happy to do it. It's a pleasure.
thank you, Mary Beth. Okay, do we have any public comments? I don't see anybody out there, so I'm going to take that as a no. So our next regular meeting is February 18th, and this meeting is adjourned.